Hello, everyone. We are coming at you live from the Liminal Pines. I am your host, your gracious host, and the guy that runs the channel, and just a guy. Hello, my name is Alan. Lizard Wizard is already here commenting what his favorite manga is Berserk. I haven't read Berserk. I know about Berserk. Um, we are not going to be doing a panel from Berserk today, mainly just because Murata has an insane attention to detail that would kill me. Um, and for a lot of manga artists, it does end up killing them. They overwork themselves to death for their art, which is admirable, but not something I'm willing to do on this stream today. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It's me, Alan, aka the Luminal Pines. Today, we are going to be doing a little bit of artwork, and I thought that I put a little poll up on the channel with a couple options of what today's stream would be, and I don't want to say overwhelmingly, it was chosen. There were probably about 7 people who voted, but to those 7 people, I appreciate your input. But the one that beat out the others was we're going to be doing some manga panels today. We're going to be we're going to be doing 3 manga panels of my choice on stream today because I like manga, I like black and white, and I think manga is very emblematic of that particular art style that I am drawn to. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Hey, hello, Habes. Welcome to the stream. You haven't missed much, don't worry, we just started. But I guess I don't have much to say as far as normally I want to have like a moral to what the stream is. It's like, oh, why are we doing this? And I think part of my moral for wanting to do the stream is just I like manga and I think it's cool. And I've been reading Vagabond Volume 3 over here, and so I've just kind of been in that mood. Before we start drawing and before I do show and tell, well, I guess no, I just gave it away. We're doing show and tell. We're gonna be doing show and tell. And today I have prepared for you. I have a couple of things prepared for you. The first of which is located on the internet. And we're gonna. I think it would be really cool to do like a news segment every week, kind of just like an art news segment of just like projects that like I think are cool. Um, Let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. Of course, that would involve research on my behalf. Ah! Ah! Sorry, I got shaken around there. Um, Now I can't seem to locate. There I am. All right. So the first thing that I want to talk about here today is this right here, which is some interesting news that we got here this past 24 hours. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is getting its second season, and this is a big dub for us Cyberpunk fans because the first season of this anime is just fantastic. But this is a bit of a spoiler, so if you have not seen Cyberpunk Edgerunners, put me on mute or turn the stream off and come back in 1 minute. Um, that's your warning right here. I'm going to be spoiling this anime right now. So if you have not, or if you have seen Cyberpunk Edgerunners, you will know that just everyone dies. It's a real Halo Reach situation. Everybody dies in the first season except for like 2 characters. One of them is an unimportant side character, but the main character kicks the bucket by the end of the season, which I love, by the way. It's fantastic and it's heartbreaking, and it's just a perfect representation of just how difficult life is in this world if you want to make it. But what I find so interesting about this this second season right here is that we are getting an entirely new cast of characters, which makes sense. I think Edge Runners would work perfectly as an anthology series, and it seems like City Project Red and Studio Trigger think the exact same thing because it looks like we are getting entirely new characters, which this could be a long running series of original 10 episode seasons, each season being an entirely new set of characters, just because the world of cyberpunk is so wide and varied. I just think that this is an amazing idea. And this is the promotional poster that they dropped for it. Um, we just got it basically just got confirmed that it was in production, so we don't have a release for it yet. I don't believe so. At the very least, correct me if I'm wrong. But this is a little promotional poster, and it looks dope. It seems as if our main character here is a younger individual. I don't know if they're gonna be young the entire show, but they seem to have a little camera, and that gets me excited because I think one of the coolest things about cyberpunk is how it tackles the ideas of like self identity in a post consumer society revolving around like new technologies. But it's just this. I like this idea of sort of the main character being like uh, uh, engulfed in the media aspect of the cyberpunk world. I think that could be so cool. I feel like you could say a lot about your characters with this here. Lizard Wizard says you can also open Discord for your channel, and hopefully everyone who's subscribed will join. Yeah, I we were talking about that last week. So for the Discord situation, I'm still looking into it. For in the meantime, I just opened up community posts on YouTube. Just because like I've seen other channels that have done community posts as well. I was just wanting to test it out. And I didn't realize that it was so obtuse navigating to the community post tab. There's no way to do it on a desktop for one, and if you're on mobile, there's no separate tab. You kind of have to scroll to the channel and click through like several different uh, windows in order to get to community posts. So probably not going to be sticking with the community posts tab. So the Discord probably is going to be the way to go. So look out for that in the next week, because that seems to be the better idea. YouTube just sucks. Every time they implement a new feature, it's just like it's just nothing. Seems all that YouTube is good for is just hosting videos, and currently like YouTube Shorts. But even the YouTube Shorts suck because it does not push them whatsoever, like at all. uh, Case in point, the engagement on all of my YouTube shorts. It's just atrocious. And it only shows it's like a couple hundred people, which is crazy. But then I'm not, this isn't, this is not Rant Hour. This is not Rant Hour. Another thing, shorts is very meh. Making shorts is fun, I will say. I do enjoy making shorts because I limit myself to that minute. I know I can go up to 3 minutes, but just like limiting yourself to that minute. It's very fun to sort of like condense all of that into such a short amount of time. Um, Watching YouTube shorts, on the other hand, yeah, I understand. It's a sucky feature, and maybe YouTube would make it better one day, but I'm not holding my breath for it. Okay, so the second thing that I want to talk about today, we'll go ahead and close this out, is I kind of just want to talk about some music albums that I've been listening to, and I have two of them to share with you here today. Both Bon Iver albums. The first one is here. Uh, is called 22 a Million, and this is a very I don't know why I did that. This is a very special album to me. I've been listening to it for um since it came out, essentially. That was in 2016, so that's almost 10 years ago. And this is an album that uh, I have been growing up alongside, and it's an album that has like changed meaning uh, in my own personal life as I've gotten older. And just like here recently, I have been listening to it again, and I just like it's putting into perspective like how much I've changed over the years. And this is definitely an album that is focused on growth and change. But more interestingly, it's an album that's focused on duality and sort of you have this idea of numbers and mathematics and symbols, and it all coalesces into this just fantastic piece of art. You love that album? Still slaps? Yeah. This album is simply amazing. My favorite tracks. Some of my favorite tracks. There has to be a track list on here, right? Singles. Um, Damn, there's got to be a, oh yeah, track listing. Um, this one, uh, 10 Death Breaths, fantastic, fantastic song. Recommend that I recommend you listen to that album in full. I like listening to complete albums, and this album is a great one to listen to in full. But 10 Death Breaths, amazing song. Listen to this one with headphones with the bass turned all the way up. It's great. 715 Creeks is a good one. It's kind of a ballad. This is a very like depressing song for me. Definitely when I was in like high school, this was one of my depression songs, but it doesn't read as depressing to me anymore, which is good. 33 God, this is an amazing song. This album definitely tackles religion in a very interesting way, and it sort of makes you question the idea of like what is what is religion to you? What is your God? In sort of like a philosophical sense, not even from a like a Western Christianity sense, but just it's like I don't know. Your God is what you find to be your most fundamental, uh, basic need. It's kind of how I interpret it, but I love this song. 666 666 upside down cross. I just call this one 666 666. This song is amazing right here as well. Again, it deals with ideas of religion, and sort of the ideas of like you have 666 with the ideas of like evil or sin, and sort of how that relates to being introduced in your life. I love that. Um, and then the rest of these songs are good, but those are my real standouts that I love. I think it has a an amazing final track as far as the messaging goes. He ends out the album by saying, uh, it it harms me, it harms me, it harms me. I'll let it in," and it's sort of it's this beautiful way to cap off this uh, exploratory um, musical project in a way that just it resonates with me heavily. And I totally dig this sort of like the symbology of the numbers that Justin Vernon has created here. So please go and watch, go and listen to this album in full. The second album that I want to show off is Bon Iver's most recent venture. It's Sable Fable. Um, this is also such an amazing album for completely different reasons. I love the album art because it's just a little square. I thought it would be really funny to do a short where I draw this album art and it's just like I do a square and I just draw like a black square in the center. I think that would be funny. I'm not saying I'll do that, but I think that would be really funny. Also, not I love the interesting. I love how like this album has like this sort of square in the middle, and we get a reflection of that here with Sable Fable. It's almost as if he's directly calling back to this album right here. And so Sable Fable is another great album because it consists of a 4-track EP for the disc one of the album, transitioning into a disc two. And disc one is Sable, which is like a deep, dark black. It's sort of like calling back to sort of that depressing songwriting that he's known for a lot of the time. Like the more emotional, sort of closeted aspect of his writing. And so that you have that represented with the black square in the middle, which sort of calls back to sort of this is kind of a depressing album in a lot of ways. So like that black square almost calls back to this little square here. So the first 5 tracks are sort of down and not dour, but like they're kind of darker. But it has this amazing transition into disc two, which is Fable, which is sort of a more like poppy, uh, a more poppy second half that is more hopeful and but it doesn't lose its like even though it is more poppy, you know, you have your structures that are like a bit more tried and true because he's known for like sort of throwing structure out of the window. But for this, he sort of like does follow that like a chorus verse bridge chorus um structure. But they're great. They're absolutely great. A real treat for the ears. My favorite songs off of this album are "Things Behind Things." I love the guitar, the sort of like rolling guitar that carries throughout this entire song. Space Side is also really, 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 really good. For the second half, I really love "Everything Is Peaceful." Love, uh, and "Rum" are some of my two favorite songs from this. I listen to these. I've been listening to these a bunch. "From" specifically, it sort of tackles uh I, I haven't given it much thought, but like the narrator's perspective, he has been with their partner, or, you know, they've been with their partner for some time, presumably have gotten married, and they're sort of going through a front patch, and he's sort of just saying like, you know, we're past that honeymoon phase, and but even though we're like, it seems as if we're like growing apart, just know that like I am still here for you. And it's sort of he's talking about like just as their relationship has evolved to the point where it is at the time, he is willing to work for it to evolve it once more into something else, which I think is great because I think relationships should be not based on sort of maintaining the status quo. They should be about growth and change. Um, so that's what I love. And then everything else here is good. Everything else here is really good. But those are my two standouts from this album. I hope they tour here soon. That would be nice. It seems like no one that I want to see tours anywhere near me. I've been wanting to see Gorillaz for forever. They don't tour anywhere near me. Closest place they tour is Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not going to Atlanta. I'm sorry. Like I am not going. I am not going to Atlanta. Um I am actually going to see I am going to be seeing Lord Huron at the end of the month, though. They are coming to Nashville. And so they are going to be promoting their new album, The Cosmic Selector, Volume 1. But it's been forever since they've torn uh, anywhere near me. They normally stick to the West Coast. But uh, I love all the Lord Huron albums. People who have seen the channel will know. But I'm so excited to see them live. It is going to be an emotional roller coaster for me because I listen to these albums nearly all the time, and they're very special to me for that reason. That's surprising. You're in such a music place. Yeah, right. You would think that being like near Nashville and like Memphis, um, and like I guess I would consider like Asheville, but like you would think like being around like this place that more artists would tour here. Unfortunately, I think me being in like a red state has sort of deters some artists from coming here, which like fair enough. But 21 Pilots tours in Nashville often, so I've seen them like three times now. So at least I can see one person frequently. Do I like Gregory Alan Isakov? Do I know Gregory Alan Isakov? That sounds familiar. I don't recognize this guy from his little face right here. Right, discography. This guy. Wait, let me pull up my Spotify here and search him there instead. He's got my name. That's weird. I don't have any like songs from him on my Spotify, but his name looks very familiar. I'll normally just like put on like my Discover Weekly or like listen to sort of just like random stuff. So I think I might have heard Amsterdam before. That sounds familiar. You like Lord Ear and you'd love him. Check him out. The album with Colorado Symphony. We'll go ahead and we'll follow them on Spotify, and I'll give them a listen later. Thank you for the recommendation, because I do be loving me my Lord Huron my folky vibes. Okay. Sorry to bore everybody talking about music. This isn't a music channel. This is a me channel. Yeah. Okay. Oh no. You're gonna see what one of the things that we're gonna be doing later. That's okay. Oh my gosh, and you get a little bit of a sneak peek of what we're going to be listening to during the stream. Is well, I need to make a preset for my OBS with like doing the border and stuff, because I know I'm doing it the more difficult way, but I'm just too stubborn to make like a preset. Yeah, where's that guy who's just here for art content only? I don't know, but they pop in every now and again. Um, I think I have a friend that teases me often. He'll be like he'll message me or say draw now. I think that's very funny. I like being treated like just like a dude who just like uh, who's just here for like I'm a little circus monkey. Oh, I am like a little circus monkey, so it's like it's fitting, of course. Um, just I don't know if you can see him. Oh, he just jumped down. My cat was on the thing back there. Lame. All right. So next we have yeah, we have a little bit more of show and tell. We're gonna point my camera downwards so I can do that stuff here real quick. But you can still hear my voice. In the meantime, we, we'll listen to some tunes. Oh wait, no, I don't have the tunes on here. I'm sorry. We will not be listening to some tunes because I don't have it on this card. We'll be listening to some tunes as soon as I get back. This is completely technical and it has nothing to do with like anything that you can see or will ever see, but like I mounted the little crane arm that I use to hold my camera here to the back of my desk instead of to the side of my desk, and it's made my life a lot easier because it's able to reach all the way and it's just not in the way constantly, which is great. Truly, it's what I needed. Um, we're gonna fade in. Whoop. Hello. Yeah. Oh, new interesting development. Got a new mat for the desk here. Um, Still have the quilted thing, but wanted something that was gonna be able to be beat up a little bit more. So we got this little cutting mat, this gridded cutting mat here, and I like the like lines on it, so I thought it would be cool. I was watching a YouTube channel and they suggested doing this for a desk mat, and I thought that that was a really cool idea. Okay. Now we get to listen. Today we are listening to, if I can figure it out. Today we're listening to the Chrono Trigger soundtrack. No quilt. The quilt is I don't have the quilt over here. It's somewhere else. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I have never played Chrono Trigger, and I know next to nothing about Chrono Trigger, but the soundtrack is kind of good. So that's where we're going to be listening to here. Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet. But yeah, in the meantime, we're going to start off with looking through the sketchbook. I I've recently got this little pack of watercolor postcards. And so it's watercolor paper, and they got like the postcard writings on the back. And you'll see on my posts that I showed off this one right here that I made for Vagabond. And so it's sort of a cool little. This is fun. This works in like my thumb. I like working with like thumbnail sized pages. So this was really good. And yeah, I just I don't know. I don't have much to say about this. One thing I will say is that like my watercolor brushes have run out of the color, so I had to dry brush all of this stuff right here, and not the biggest fan of that. Also, I went too dark for the shadow right here. Such is life. Such is the artist's life. It's filled with mistakes. Another one I did here is of this ship. I thought this was really fun. Since I am reading Moby Dick again, I was like, ooh, let's do some pirate ships. That's the back of it right there. I'm trying to. I forgot to date this one. Stupid. Jeez. I think I did this one on the 2nd, so we're just gonna say. There we go. You love the ship? Thank you. I love like pirate ships. Grew up watching like Pirates of the Caribbean and such, so like I've always like really liked pirate ships. Like any other young man would. But yeah. Sort of trying to create that sort of framing within the environment right there. Yeah. Those are the 2 postcards that I did. And we'll probably I'll do some more at some point. I kind of just like, I'm like, it's just another thing to do that's not in the sketchbook necessarily. We're gonna be showing off other things that I have in the sketchbook. You've already seen this, of course. I did not do much drawing this past week, mainly just because I wanted to take a little break for my sanity. And of course, I wanted to draw that entire time, but sometimes you need to impose breaks on yourself. I like weightlift and stuff, and like there's this concept known as like a deload week, where if you go like a couple months following a strict routine, you should take like a week of not lifting at all or just lifting very light weights in order to dismiss that fatigue that you've built up on your body. And so I'm sort of like treating this. There are a lot of parallels between like weightlifting and doing like art the way that I'm doing it. So I'm sort of trying to learn from both of those. You've all seen this before. You all know this guy looks terrible. I don't know what it's. You know what it is? It's because like I felt squashed on the edge of the page, right here. Also, his helmet is like weirdly like far back on his head. You really love Moby Dick. I saw a bit of your video, the one you ranking books and you read in college, but I don't understand why people like it so much. Never actually read it though. Wait, I'm gonna be a gatekeeper real quick. You gotta read it to understand, man. That's my fake answer. My real answer is that Moby Dick is it's a tough read in that it's not a very plot heavy book. It's I treat the book as like each chapter as its own little essay, philosophizing different aspects of like whaling life, but like also like real life. Moby Dick just resonates with me, man. It's something I could explain in a future video, perhaps. But yeah, just something about Moby Dick. I love that it's like a revenge story, but I also love how it's like a little like a microcosm about sort of like society. It's a great book, and it's a funny book too, which is part of the reason I think it has an amazing sense of humor. Here we have eyes, drawing some eyes, just more people. I had to these watercolor brush refillable brush pens that I got have an awful seal. So like I've been finding myself popping off the cap and spitting ink everywhere, and I'm getting pissed off with them. So I need to find a better brush. You really want to read it, but you don't think you can understand English in there. You're international and your English is fine, but not fluent. One thing I would recommend that you could do is and I do this with a lot of books. There's a free audiobook on YouTube of Moby Dick. It's the first one that pops up when you search up Moby Dick audiobook. Have the book open while you're reading it, and listen to the audiobook as well. And you can put it on any speed that you want. I put it on 2x speed personally, but like if you need to, you can put it on like a slower speed. And I recommend listening to the audiobook while you are reading the actual book. It'll help you stay focused and on track, but like it also it takes away the strain of like having to pay the closest attention to the words, if that makes sense. Since you have someone reading it to you, you can focus a little bit better. So like I would recommend that with any book. Honestly, I think audiobooks are a really good tool for getting through books, especially if you have like, if you're a slow reader like me, or like I don't have ADHD, but sometimes when I'm reading it feels like I do, and I'll very frequently have to like reread like paragraphs upon paragraphs, so having the audiobook helps keep you on track. The Pentel ones work better. That looks like a Cineliner one. Those are hella leaky. Psh, it's the cheapest one that I could find. It doesn't have a brand on it, I don't think. But it probably is. I have seen the Pentel ones before. I should try those out. I've seen one person recommend those before. Oh yeah, it's actually smart. I do it on Drawbox. By the way, I saw your tabs when you talked about music. You're doing Drawbox too? I still have it pulled up. I haven't started it, just because I'm lazy. But I have been looking at it. I do have it pulled up still because I am legitimately interested on this. So whenever I do start it, I will let you know. Because like this is an amazing resource. The more I've been looking into it. So have you been enjoying it? Have you been doing it? I'm sorry, I forgot what I was gonna say. I was too busy like flipping through tabs here. Which ones, like, I don't know, like, do you just start from the beginning? Because like some of these things I'm like, I don't know where the best place like to start would be, if I can just jump around or if I need to go like linearly. Let me know if the music is too loud. Or not. We've seen this page before. Just doing lines. One of my things with the sketchbook is like I want to like get like those like textures down, like get my line work not down like amazing, but like I want to focus on like my lines. Really like putting the pen in pen and ink. Seems fun at first. When you're on 220, 250 box, it's hard and painful. No, actually, it's really helpful and great, of course. I see. Well, you said 220, 250? Okay, yeah, I see. I think it's good to like challenge, like even if it's like, if like you're not like, okay, like if you're not good at it, right? I still think it's more important to fail and learn than it is to not do it at all, or to like stay in your comfort zone. Yeah. Hey, it's the skulls that we did last week. With that one looks terrible. Habes, I saw your skulls that you posted on the community. They looked really good. I'm proud. I don't know if pride is a thing that I should be expressing. I feel like that's a weird emotion to be expressing, but I think they look really good. Thank you for drawing along too, by the way. Thank you to anybody that draws along while we do this. Once I get that Discord up and running, we'll be able to have like a more we'll have different sections where you can go in and like do your own, like post like your stuff. So it'll happen. It will happen. Yeah. These you haven't seen. These happened after the stream. These are just two more things. I thought it would be fun to, for one, just to like play around with like the texturing of like doing like the horizontal and vertical lines, and like sort of like using that to like do the silhouettes of like the animals. But then I just been going in afterwards and like adding little figures. Cause like I don't know, when I'm thinking of like, I'm always thinking of like I'm working towards finishing in circles and sort of I don't know, I want to try and like start getting good at emphasizing sort of that lone figure in the wilderness vibe that I think would like really sell the comic. This one's really fun. I really like this one. I think the trees are very fun because you have that repeated pattern, but also you have like the layering, you know. You did a nice texture on the tree. You applied study, so you did maybe 2 live streams before, I'm not wrong. Yes, I did. Thank you for noticing. And I will be learning more as time goes on. Hopefully. Trees have always been a difficult thing for me, but I really do like this way of doing them, sort of like breaking them up, maybe not as like breaking them up into like silhouettes instead of like strictly outlining them. So that was fun. Of course, you have like a little figure standing here amongst the trees. And boom! Here's what we have that I worked on previously. You have a... See, he's a guy just sitting there eating his little snack. This one was a pain to do because of like the hands. Hands are always hard to do, but hands are even harder to do at such a small scale. And sort of getting the positioning and getting like the details. Getting the details on something so small is hard because you don't want to be too detailed. And it's sort of like trying to figure out where that line needs to be drawn. And then we have this one right here. This was just like a portrait that I did, and then I sort of like, I lined it out. And then I did like some black around it, and I added a little speech bubble. Because comics. Because comics. Then here we have just this is from The Last Guardian. I need to go back and sort of like darken this more because like sort of I like the texturing of it, but I don't care for the sort of like degradation of like, just because you're working with a pen, it's gonna do that, you know. But yeah, and that's where we are. That's where we are here today. We're gonna be doing 3 manga panels here today. The first is gonna be from this manga called Dorodoro, by Q Hayashida. This is a really good manga. It has some like really good, it has some really good art in it. Like some amazing, fantastic, amazing art. So this is the first one we're gonna be doing. Goated game. Chrono Trigger? I need to play it. I really do need to play it. The second that we're going to be doing is from Volume 3 of Vagabond, because this is what I'm reading through currently. We're going to pick up a panel from here. And then, I don't have it pulled up, but we're going to be doing a panel from Chainsaw Man, the manga Chainsaw Man. Do I have it pulled up here? Yeah, we're also going to be doing, The Last Guardian? Yes, The Last Guardian is a very goated game. I love The Last Guardian. I'm working on a video for it still. You can see on the screen here. There's a thing here for it. I'm working on it still, don't worry. It'll be out when it's out. Yeah, but the third one we're gonna be doing is from this little manga called Chainsaw Man here, which is such a good manga, such a wacky manga too. I love it. But never mind. Script? Yeah. Scripting's hard. No, I've been through like a weirdly rough like motivational patch here. I mean, I could moan and complain all day about it, but I've been struggling with motivation here recently, but that's like normal, right? I mean, you're gonna go through patches where you're sort of like feeling down and depressed, but like it'll get better. I'm fully okay with there being like waves. We're not going to be picking huge spreads for these for these panels. We're going to be doing we're going to try and stick to some more simple panels. Like, we're not going to be doing this right here. This would take like literally ages. If you see one that stands out, comment it. The page numbers are down here or around down here. So if you see one that's on a specific page that you think is cool, before I get to one that I find, let me know. I think that one's cool. Ooh, that one's dope. Oh, that one's dope right there. See, I love this manga's sort of like scratchy line work, but it's like scratchy with intent, if that makes any sense. This manga is also just like amazingly grotesque. And it also has a very fun sense of humor as well. It's not all morbid, it's sort of it's very what's the word? Very self-aware of its like tone, I would say. The character design reminds me of Otomo from Akira. Sort of like the faces remind me of Akira in a lot of ways. That's a really cool one. Maybe a bit too complicated for what I'm willing to do today, but that's a really neat page. Gosh, man. See, that's a really interesting way to sort of do, like, this is like almost like a little like nightmare that happens, I'm pretty sure. So it's like a really cool way to panel it out. It's so cool. Ooh, that's a really neat panel right there. I don't know. I feel like the perspective. I like the 1 point perspective on that one. We'll keep that one in mind. I like the motion lines used there. What I like about the main character here, Kaiman, is he just like anybody he like comes up across, he just like puts like their head in his mouth, and he's like, "Do you see anything in there? Do you see anything down there?" Oh, this bit's colored. That's a cool way. Ooh, see, like one thing that like I find like difficult with like pen and ink is like depicting rain. So like, you know, I've been meaning to do something like that. We're gonna do this panel right there. I think that's a really nice panel. We're gonna be working this one right here. Is there a way to sort of like pin this together? Really don't think there is. If I do it like that. Maybe if I sort of like have my mouse thing right there. So no, we're gonna be doing this panel right here. Really like that panel. I'm gonna need to do some erasing on the thumbnail lines here then. I need to find a good way to sort of frame this, because I am doing it physically. Wait, let me just do this instead. Instead of like having, I'm gonna do this instead. I'm gonna zoom in And then I'm gonna do like a screenshot of it. I'm gonna do a screenshot of it on my computer here. Right, recents. And then that's so low res, what? Why is it so low res? And why is it like that? Okay, it's not so bad once I shrink it a little bit. Okay, yeah, we'll do that instead, so that way I don't have to like zoom out. So I don't have to fumble around with a book the entire time. Cool. I will be using a straight edge here. It was stretched. Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's just because I had it like transformed previously. So it's looking like we're gonna be using this as like a straight edge. I'm trying to figure out the dimensions of this. I mean, honestly, that's probably roughly in the ballpark of the actual dimensions. Maybe a bit more extended that way. For like talking about that right there. Yeah, it's long enough. It's hard that I didn't realize how long I spent yapping. If I'm ever talking too much, let me know. You know? You dig? Like if I'm ever like, if you ever feel like I'm like, if I'm like talking for too long, please just be like, hey, you need to get back to it. Because I will. I will understand. I will understand it. Okay. I'm gonna have it pulled up on my side here so I can reference it. Cool. Okay. So first, what we're gonna do here is we have a figure, sort of you have our main character Kaiman. He's sort of blocked out in the bottom half of this, so he's occupying this space right here. Our perspective grid follows as such. We're working with a 2-point perspective here, which is pretty simple, thankfully. And that's sort of follows like that. It's your stream. I think that if you're not going to talk too much, then there's going to be an awkward silence. Yeah, and I'm big on awkward silences, meaning that I do a lot of awkward silences. Yeah, that's roughly what we're working on for our perspective here. And of course we have like the steps and everything. We have some more stuff going on back over here, but and there's some black gobbledygook chilling up there. And then sort of, you know how perspective works. So I'm going to bore you too much with this. Yeah. Okay. So I think we'll start with, I'm going to lay out the steps here because the steps need to be sort of laid out. So we're working with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps. So we're going to try and do that. And sort of we're following this tangent going down. So we got one big step that's like right here. Right, so bam, 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 bam. We got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What did I say? 9? Did I say 9? Let me do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 steps, so we can make these steps a bit bigger by the looks of it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they're gonna, eyeball the steps because the panel isn't the same size. Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to keep it like in proportion, if that makes sense. I'm not trying to get it exact, but I do want to sort of like keep it like somewhat proportionate. So like even if it's stretched a bit, that's okay. Okay, that's roughly how the steps are going to be looking there. You said never mind. Actually, it doesn't really matter. It matters. Everything matters. Okay. So then we're going to be working on our figure here next, I think is good. So I think his head is sort of like right here. Like that right there. I really like the I like the outlining of like the little white bits in the costume here. I think that's really cool. It helps showcase the figure without being too crazy detail, you know. Because it really is just a lot of scratchy lines if you really look at it, but it implies so much detail, which I find just like so fascinating. It's such a cool like design too. Like they sort of looks like ribs almost. And, yeah, there's not much going on here as far as like actual detail. Of course, he has these little spikes come out of his head. Because he is an alligator after all. Or not an alligator, but a kainan, which is a type of reptile, I think. I love that. See, it's so simple, like such a simple like figure, and it doesn't need to do too much. Same thing with like the detailing here. It's like there's not too much going on. It sort of reminds me of there's this manga called Balam, which sort of like has this sort of crazy industrial aesthetic to it, and it sort of like has to deal with like this like mess of like network of pipes and stuff everywhere. I think this manga like follows like a very similar sort of style and vibe to that. Of course, we got like detailing. On the cracks and whatnot. Here's one thing that like I never really liked drawing. It's stairs. Like I think drawing like it's so difficult. I don't know. Something about doing the steps always just like seems so hard to me. And it shouldn't be hard, but it's always been kind of hard for me. Just something about it like staggering has always been kind of like, yeah, for me, you know. See, especially once you get like down here. Maybe they should be facing more like that, right there, you know. Kind of like that. Okay. Let's ink it up. We're actually gonna be using the Fude tip for this one. Just because I'm actually able to get some fine lines with it. We're not gonna worry too much about doing the outer panel just yet. We're gonna start with the most fun thing on the panel, which is probably our main figure here. It seems sort of... We're gonna lightly sketch in these sort of like rib elements first, and then we'll sort of do a little blackened thing around it. Is this new, the pen? No, I've been using this pen for a bit. I don't use it all that frequently on streams. I do use it quite a bit regularly. This is a Sailor Fude de Menin, and it sort of has a 45-degree tip right here. And so like what you're able to do is you can get really fine tip by holding it like this, but also if you hold it sort of vertical like this, you also get fine lines, but since it has like a curve, you can also get really thick lines. You can get thick to thin really easily. So it almost it resembles a brush tip in a lot of ways, and that's what fude means. Fude means brush in Japanese. So it's very useful. It's very useful for achieving that brush-like aesthetic, but using a fountain pen. I recommend using one of these. It's got a bit of a learning curve to like using effectively, but like I don't know. I think brush pens are a very useful skill to sort of have with inking. So might as well get started now. And we're gonna try and do this very like scratchy, almost. If you look closely, there is, even though it is like very like jagged and sort of like messy, there are contours being used in this. Like look at the arms, you can see that there's sort of a this little shape going on in the darkness. So that's sort of subconsciously informing our eye of the form of the figure, which I find very, very fascinating. Same thing with the head here. You can see that there's sort of a there's like almost like crisscrossing on the back of the head. Widening the stance here a little bit. If it's because the image is stretched or if it's texture, but it looks like there are raindrops. Yeah, there are raindrops, which is why I chose this right here. Once I get everything inked down, I'm gonna go over the top and sort of like try and like draw in those raindrops there, because I find it interesting how some artists choose to depict raindrops, and it's something I want to sort of look at here. So that's something we're gonna try and focus on. Of course, we got sort of this tangled mess of wires happening up here. But good eye, good eye. I think maybe we're gonna switch to this pen just to get these. Cool. Just doing some texturing right along there. It's definitely like, it's a very like messy look, which I really like. I think that not all the steps are like rendered out fully dark, because like you're trying to draw your eye sort of from down here to up there. Sort of the lines that are following around our character here are not the darkest. That's interesting. So it kind of shows that you don't need to sort of like have all of your lines connect. Sometimes it's okay to break them apart in order to like have like a character or something that's like in frame, if that makes sense. Habes asks, do you prefer inking on smooth paper? Yes. Wait, oh, I said that very rudely. Yes. Yeah, this isn't... I do prefer inking on Bristol paper above all else. So this paper is not Bristol paper, and it is not the smoothest that I have ever inked on. It's better than the other Moleskine watercolor sketchbook that I was using, but it's still not perfect. I do prefer Bristol paper. My only thing is like finding sorry, I'm out of frame there, but finding a Bristol a sketchbook that uses Bristol board can either be they have terrible binding or they're just like kind of expensive. So that's sort of like the trouble that I've ran into trying to find good sketchbook paper. So if you have any recommendations for like Bristol board sketchbooks, please let me know, because I have yet to find one that I like fully. But smoother paper, inking is always going to be really, really good on like Bristol paper. One, because it's made for inking. Like obviously, a lot of comic artists use Bristol paper. You get one of the Bristol sketchbooks from Hobby Lobby, and it's so satisfying to use. Yeah, see, that's the one that I don't have it. Yeah, I don't have it in here with me. I have used one of those before. The paper is so nice. My only issue with those sketchbooks is the binding is kind of like the binding is over time it'll start to like wear out a little, which is fine because like, you know, you're not gonna be using the sketchbook forever. It's just I don't know. I want it to be a bit more sturdy, personally speaking. But yeah, those sketchbooks are really great. Yeah, they do have like they're really good for like markers and stuff. Not Copic markers, but like using like watercolor markers. I think that they're really good on that. I want to get a sketchbook that I can use Copic markers on that don't bleed through the page. You like a bit of texture too. It gives more personality. Yeah, it depends, obviously, on like what you're going for. As with anything, of course. I like texture sometimes with the inking. You know, it does just depend. For like something like this right here, having the texture helps a little bit because it has such a scratchy art style. You know what I mean? Okay, so here's the thing too that we're got here with the rain is that obviously we have our like texturing on the steps, which seems to just be a bunch of hatching, but there's also like little rain puddles everywhere, which I find compelling. I would love to do a video at some point. I have it like in my notes. I think it would be nice to do a video that examines how different artists depict rain in black and white, because I think rain is like an amazing tool for storytelling, but it's just so hard to draw, in my opinion. So I would really like to figure out how certain artists draw rain. And what effect that can give. And so, because in Circles I wanted to have a lot of rain in it, just because I found rain to be like, so there's a good natural beauty in that. So I need to do some research on that. Maybe sometime in this next year I will get that video made. That makes sense. I like how it was like, how the hell is this so affordable, right? See, that's the one thing I won't knock Hobby Lobby over. I'll knock Hobby Lobby over for a bunch of things, but like this sketchbook is from Hobby Lobby, and it was like $8, which is insanely cheap. So I'm not going to complain about it because it gives me a cost-effective way to pursue my hobbies. And they're good too. I mean, I got some sketchbooks from Hobby Lobby that are very nice. So I'll be effing with it. I'll be effing with it. Seems like there's like little blobs here and there on the steps to sort of show off how uneven the surface is. I like that. So it seems with this artist, what she's doing is she's showing rain through like a lot of through like the puddles on the ground, if that makes sense. She's building up like a texture of these like curved shapes that contrast with the more linear perspective that we're seeing here. Trying to give a similar effect. The yogurt effect. That shit's the yogurt effect. Sorry. It's a Cold Ones reference. You should all be watching Cold Ones, I think. Okay, I don't want to overwork this. Sometimes it's good to know when to stop, so I'm gonna cease on the texture here. I'm gonna cease on the texture here. So we got our perspective down and our texturing. We need to go in and add sort of like this rain effect. And what's nice about the rain is that it seems to be following like a it seems to be following the linear perspective. It's very thin. So maybe I shouldn't use that pen. Maybe I should just stick with this pen right here. So we have our longer lines. I need to be careful not to curve at the bottom. See, one thing that I could be doing right here is I could have mapped out where the raindrops were going to be, because if you look in the manga panel here, sometimes when the raindrops intersect like a really dark object, there's white paint like over it, which makes me think that like maybe they were using an X-Acto knife to scratch out those like white lines, I think. Okay, I think that's. I don't want to do too much because I don't want to clutter it. But go ahead and draw the border around that. Another thing I like here too, if you pay attention to the borders, they're not clean borders. They're very the ink sort of like spills out of it a lot, which like again adds to this really gritty tone. I like that. I like how it's like irreverent of the manga panel, of the manga paneling. Like that's so cool. Boom, first panel. Dunzo. What do we think? It's not perfect, but in reality, this is a composition study. This is a study of like textures, all these sorts of things sort of coalescing together into this one beautiful little panel. So I'm liking this. I think that's fun, and it's a very unique angle. Also, I'm looking out on the screen right here. I think this side is a little warped. Whoops. Whoopsies. Too late now. Then we'll do some erasing. Boom. Love it. You're not drawing along due to an injury, but definitely going to need to rewatch and draw. That's okay. Don't strain yourself. I hope that you recover swiftly. Swiftly. I'm having an injury too. Yesterday I was carrying a 40 pack of water down a hill, like a rocky hill, and I slid and I fell on my back, but like I fell with the water landing on this hand right here, so like the water crushed this hand and it's been kind of hurting today, but it's okay. It's my non-dominant hand, so I don't need it. But rest that up. Wait, we'll do a little side by side. It looks like a cute little thumbnail next to the professionally rendered to the professionally rendered manga panel. I like it. So that's the 5th, right? Yeah. Right, 49. We're getting to nearing the end of the sketchbook, which means that I really need to get out my sketchbook tour for the past sketchbook. Oh geez, thank goodness it was lefty. Yeah, right. Like, anything can happen to my left hand as long as it spares my right hand. Okay. In other news, I've been playing a new video game here recently. It came out last week. I've been playing Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I think I'm halfway through it. I'm really not sure, but it's been a really fun game so far. I'm really enjoying it. Excuse me. All right, let's find us a panel from Vagabond here. Okay. I'm just gonna like flip through randomly because I mean, like, honestly, any panel here would probably be good enough because they're all just like that good. Rain. Ooh, I kind of like. He does do yeah, he does do rain very nicely too. Oh, that's a really dope panel. You finished your last sketchbook in April, and I feel like progressed since then. So I'm like, damn, do I even tour this? It's crazy how sometimes your skills ran a lot. Yeah, right? I mean, especially like they'll like level up in like hindsight. You'll like look back and you'll be like at the time I didn't really feel like I accomplished much, but then you know, like you look back at it and you're like, oh damn. Maybe I did learn something. It's a funny looking panel. Well, I will be looking forward to seeing it whenever you get around to it. I really like the hatching here that he's using for the face. That would be terrible to do. The spider. I like this because like a little spider goes in front of me. He's like, wait a minute, I finally I see it. This is a very good fight too between the two warriors. And you know, he does this thing where he does a lot of close-ups of characters' faces, like a lot, which I really like. It's sort of like it establishes like the character as like an actual like a I don't know. He has very realistic proportions, which I quite like. Sort of getting that close-up really cements that person in your brain. Beat. What's the name of this manga? It's a Vagabond. Yeah, Vagabond. This is a great manga. I recommend you read it. And this is only the 3rd volume. I think there's like 20 something volumes out currently. The manga is still being made. Apparently it's had like a 10-year hiatus or something like that. Ooh. That goes kind of raw. That goes kind of hard right there. I like that panel. Mhm. Very emotional too. I did find that with this volume, it's had a few like emotional beats that I found very resonant. That's a really cool. I love like the hatching and stuff here. Oh, that is really cool. I like the hatching there too. Um, oh. I don't know. I still feel like I like this panel a lot. I know it's just a close up, but I really like the close ups in this manga. So I think we're gonna go with this panel here. Let me zoom in a bit so I can get a good screenshot of it for you guys. Trying not to curve it as much as I can. I'm being too picky. Yeah, good enough. Miyamoto Musashi. That is an awful screenshot. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's block out our shit. Okay. Should be. I'll use this here. It needs to be more square than it is rectangle, so it needs to go down to like there-ish. Right. Well, it has some benefits doing it for study. The panel got expression and texture. If I'm not wrong, you're focused on that, right? Yeah, just like storytelling elements, I guess, is what you could boil it down to. Or more importantly, storytelling elements that I find to be of use to me, like utility. We're looking at utility here, right? So yeah, you're correct. I think the character close-ups are like one of the best things that you can use for like storytelling, because like especially when you're like drawing, it's like you need to convey the emotion through like character expressions. And you just need something that gives off a raw energy like this, you know? You know? Oh. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna figure his head is right there-ish. That sort of comes down here. And of course you have a sword. It's over here. And it's got some perspective on it too, which I really appreciate for the sword here. It sort of like shrinks as it goes further down. Yeah, sure. Also inner monologues. Yes. Yeah, I really love inner monologues. I have this really cool idea for this inner monologue that I'm going to use for in circles. So like they're in the story they're going to be searching, or they're going to be navigating through like this decaying city, area, and Ulysses is going to be he's gonna have like a little vision. And like before he has his little vision, there's like gonna be this like crow that's gonna be cawing. It's gonna be like making a lot of noise, and I figured I could do this like really cool thing where like I could have the crow like cawing like incessantly, and so like Ulysses is gonna have his little vision, and then afterwards, or while he's having the vision, the crow noise is sort of gonna disappear, and you're supposed to think as a reader that the crow disappearing is sort of like a subjective thing, like for the reader. But in reality, what is happening is that everybody, Ulysses and his brother, and the bounty that they are transporting are being attacked by this like entity that creates like perfect silence. And so like Ulysses is gonna snap out of his little dream by his brother, and he's gonna be like looking at him, and like obviously his brother Harris is gonna be like talking, right? But like he's gonna have this little inner monologue with himself where he's gonna be like I can't hear anything. Like, why can't I hear anything? I feel like this would be like a really cool moment of like tension and sort of just like a mic drop, like oh shit moment. I think that could like be like I have this like sequence planned out in my head. I feel like it could be really cool, and it could be a cool way to sort of defy the expectations of like what could happen at any moment. Because I really like when like stories have like sort of those moments where like characters are like realize that they're like in way over their heads, and I would love to like have moments like that in the comic. I think that would be like so dope. Sort of like where like conflict arises out of nowhere, and it's like your characters are forced to think incredibly quickly about like what they need to do to survive. One thing I've noticed that Inoue has done here, if you look at this panel, his right eye, from our perspective, is slightly bigger, and yeah, just slightly bigger. Which you wouldn't realize that while like reading quickly, but it's good to know that like artists can like, even really great artists can like sometimes make mistakes. You're planning to do your comic. Sorry, I forgot the name last time I've seen it. It was named Bleh, if I'm not wrong, in grayscale, or actually painting it. Wait, I've seen it. It was named Bleg, if I'm not wrong, in grayscale, or actually, wait. By the way, you're planning to do your comics. Oh, in grayscale, black and white. So yeah, that would be a grayscale, I guess you would say it. I just call it black and white. Traditionally, too, of course. That's gonna be the plan. I just really like sort of like the traditional like art process. So like I think that would be really good for like my workflow as far as like creating something. Just one thing we do need to show is that since he is looking down, his jaw is going to fall, like where his jaw turns is going to fall a little bit further up than where it would normally be. That's one way we can show the tilt of the head. You said bleh in the docs that you showed your script. Wait, did I? Did I say bleh in the script? I don't, that's funny. Did I? Maybe I did. That's kind of funny. I need to go back and like look at those because I haven't looked at the digital script, the digital thing anytime. Oh wait, no, yeah, I think no, maybe I'm not remembering correctly. I did, I don't know. Not the whole writing process isn't very clean, and sometimes I'm like interjecting a sort of a like a weird humor into the writing process. So I don't know, maybe I was making a joke there. I love everyone's eyebrows in Vagabond. Musashi has like really like good eyebrows. He does like eyebrows very well. He also does hair very well. I love this sort of like how he does these like flyaways. That's something I want to take for In Circles. Definitely. Like Ulysses is gonna have like longer hair, and I would love to like have him have these like flyaways whenever he gets a little disheveled. I think that would be really, really cool. No, the writing was fine. The name of the file was actually Bleh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The I think the yeah, I think the Google Doc was named Bleh. Right? The actual the actual like book that I'm using to write is titled like actually In Circles, so it's it's a bit more professional there. Sorry for the misunderstanding, too, on that. It's hard to communicate online sometimes. I don't know, wait, I'm actually the first person to ever comment on this. Wait, did you actually know that communicating online can sometimes be hard, and sometimes it's hard to figure out what people are talking about because I'm not paying attention all the time? Wait, but of course anybody who thinks I'm not paying attention is wrong. Oh, I love this. I love how his hatching for the stick here shows the plane changes, sort of shows the shape of like the stick here. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I love that. He does have a smaller chin, doesn't he? Maybe I'm not trying to be too accurate right here. Maybe I'm trying to do part of it like in my style also. One thing that we need to do when we're doing the sword here is know that the hatching right here needs to follow the contour of the blade. So it's like there needs to be a roundedness here. This needs to be curved like that. Same thing for this right here. And this needs to be sort of like flat like that. I like how he uses the hatching and the shading here to show the form of the body. Like you have the clavicle here. I think that's really cool. Collarbone right there being shown with that sort of like bright section. It takes a certain like very nuanced level of understanding in order to do these sorts of things like effectively. I feel. One thing that Inoue does is he always draws that bottom lip. I think that's a very distinct style with him. A lot of the times it can look like his characters are pouting sometimes. But like I think that's like part of his like style. Of course. You got like stuff going on back there. Alright, let's ink this. Let's ink it up. I think we're gonna use this pen here to start off with. Dude, I find that a good penciling layer can like make the inking process a lot more enjoyable. You know, like not having to worry about like, it's like you do a lot of your thinking with your penciling because you're able to like erase and stuff. Of course, you got these big ol' eyebrows of his. They sort of point up unnaturally, which, while not realistic, eyebrows can be very, very, very expressive. So I like that a lot. One thing I think we should show here is that there is a little bright area here, a highlight there. It does have sort of like a little hairs that sort of poke down there. Because he has like this like messy bun thing going on. He was rocking the man bun before it was cool. This is very like cathartic. I like inking is so much fun because you can really just sort of like turn your brain off, you know. Alright, we're gonna switch to the Fude nib in order to do his hair, because I think the hair calls for sort of the thick to thin. Especially like up here. There, speaking about your comic script, there's a thing I forgot to ask about. What's pilgrims? It's like people who hold the festival for the tower during the eclipse, or you just got the thing wrong. There are different kinds of pilgrims that are in the universe. You have people that will make pilgrimages into the circle, and they pay people to take them there, or they try and do it themselves, which is very dangerous and not recommended. But you have people who want to sort of like travel to different points in the circle in order to sort of visit. It's almost like it's like a holy land for like some people, if that makes sense. So you have those sorts of pilgrims who like make these long journeys. Sometimes seekers will take them, or sometimes it'll be other like private contractors. There are some not so good pilgrims in the form of the I still don't have a name for them. They're Melville's followers, and they are sort of like they are pilgrims who like sort of like worship Melville and what he's trying to accomplish in the circle. And so I think it would be, I'm gonna have them they're gonna like wear masks and stuff, because obviously like Melville's whole thing is like identity. That's like one of his main tenets, is sort of like he talks about like sort of like creating an identity, a new identity around himself. So like I think that would be really cool. But yeah, they're kind of just they occupy more of like a religious like worshiper status more than anything, which I think I could like do some commentary on sort of like charismatic leaders and such. So that's the goal with that. And of course they are present for the festival of the eclipse. The hair here is not really doing it's not hairing the way I wanted it to. Maybe it's just because I'm doing it such a small, I'm not burying it enough. That's okay. But yeah, where was I talking about in circles? Melville's whole deal is that he is wanting to create like yeah, it actually makes sense that Melville's people wear masks and stuff like a cult. Yeah, it is supposed to be very culty. And Melville's whole deal is he's sort of like emblematic of the fact that like you can craft an identity through the stories that you tell, and that can either be used for good or for bad. And so what Melville's whole deal is he's sort of like trying to prove that sort of like life is without meaning, and that like life is absurd, and he wants to sort of like wreak havoc on the not even like he wants to use the circles, the power of the circle, which he plans to do by finding the finding the tower during the eclipse, but he is wanting to essentially harness the power of the circle in order to sort of create a world of chaos, of sort of like of like almost like misinformation. He's like the ultimate proponent of sort of like misinformation, but not just for misinformation's sake, but because he truly believes that like he's like a nihilist in a lot of ways. He wants revenge on the world, but he also wants to prove a point that like, you know, that everything is like fake, essentially. So it is very culty, and you sort of get people. It's sort of he preys on people who are weak, and he like tries to prey on Ulysses, who is obviously going through it because of the recent death of his brother, and so he sort of sees that Ulysses is vulnerable, and Ulysses has heard stories crafted by Melville about himself during his journey to him. It's sort of like a Heart of Darkness situation with that. So Melville to Ulysses is sort of what you don't want to become. I mean, obviously, right? And it's so the idea is like, what is Ulysses going to choose by the end of the story? It's like, does he give into it? Does he try and stop it, or does he like have a third? Does he have like another option? Is there another option? Is it all pointless? Is it all fraught? Those are sort of questions I want to ask, but like I think with Melville, I want to sort of like, I don't want to show him too early, but I want to sort of, he exists in Ulysses' mind through like the stories that people tell about him. How he is this like all-powerful figure. He's gonna be almost sort of like messianic in that he's like said to have performed miracles and such. And whether or not that's true, that's like ultimately for the reader to decide. And I think that would be a very fun dynamic to play around with. A nice rendering. Oh, thank you. I'm not too happy with it again because I'm working in such a small, with such a small scale. It's kind of hard to get the exact hatching that Inoue is doing here, but I'm trying to sort of build up on it as we go. You said, but he did defeat Melville, right? So it didn't like stop. He doesn't defeat Melville per se. If anything, Melville kind of defeats Ulysses, but I don't know. Melville sort of does this. He opens up Pandora's box. You know, he like bites off a little bit more than he can chew, and sort of for me that's sort of informed by like sort of like, you know, in like Indiana Jones movies, how like in each movie, Indiana Jones doesn't really defeat the bad guy through like strength. He defeats him through knowledge. And so like the enemies sort of are they are responsible for their own downfall. And I think sort of like what Melville fails to realize is that you cannot control the uncontrollable. He wants to control the circle for his own personal gain, and so I think that sort of he ultimately perishes to that. And that's sort of like, again, it's a commentary on how you can't like, how nature is this like overwhelming force that you cannot you cannot wield for your own. And so sort of Ulysses is also going to be given the same choice. It's does he try and like use the power of the circle? Like, could he like bring his brother back from the dead, or does he have to accept that things are just the way they are? But like, he could also be given the option to destroy the circle, to put an end to sort of the crazy happenings of the southeastern United States. does he choose to do that either? It's like I don't know, I feel like that's where the tension comes from. It's like maybe Ulysses earlier in the story would be more likely to sort of make that decision to sort of like destroy the circle, sort of this place that is like haunted not only him, but it's sort of like he believed it to be responsible for his brother's death in some sort of way. Or does he decide to just like let it be? And like I don't know, I feel like In Circles is sort of like it's a commentary on like the cycles of revenge, cycles of like grief and depression, but also like cycles of nature. Like maybe it's okay to just say that you don't know and to move on from there. Maybe the only choice that you are able to make is what to like pass on. And I think that's what Ulysses's arc is. Does he learn that like you can gain immortality through like what you decide to pass on? Maybe you're presented with a world without meaning, and maybe it's up to you to create that meaning. I think that's what Ulysses is going to have to learn. But it's like, how do we get from point A to point B? But that's so unique that Uli dies. It's like he's the protagonist. I've seen protagonist dies. Not saying it's wrong, actually unique. Oh, well, thank you. I think that Ulysses, his entire his arc is like it's one where like it is a happy ending. You know, his death is not like a bad thing. It's sort of like he accepts. It's like it's a place of acceptance. And so like I want to paint the picture that like maybe death is not like the end necessarily. Just because you're physically dead doesn't mean that your legacy can't live on through others, through the things that you do. Like actions speak louder than words. Maybe not exactly. That's not exactly the message, but I think that like emotionally, I feel like Ulysses like has to die, you know, in order for him to like fully complete his arc. That's how I believe it, though. It's like he just because like he like I guess wins in the end, like he like defeats the bad guy, doesn't mean that he gets to sort of like be like have like his own like happily ever after. And I feel like he's okay with that. He's sort of like he understands that like things have to end. You didn't think of Yuli's death as a bad thing? That's good. That's sort of like the vibe I want to give. I want it to be emotional, of course. Like, I do want people to be sad. Like, I would be sad, you know, but I think that there's beauty. There's beauty in death. Especially characters. Characters dying. But also, like, if I ever wanted to revisit the In Circles universe, I don't want to have to be burdened with having to like continue like Yuli's story, because I feel like his works best as one that can just begin and end. Like I want it to be like a complete narrative in that sense. But like I don't know, I see a lot of like Yuli like in myself. He's like struggling to like find his place in the universe, if that makes any sense. He's sort of like, he feels like he's like with his brother gone, he feels as if he is sort of like drifting drifting through life with like without like a meaning. And so like I think I want to interject sort of sometimes like I get that existential dread, and that's sort of like where I'm channeling that into Ulysses. Of course, doing it emotionally, but I mean, like, Ulysses is not afraid of his own death, just takes a couple breaths and passes away. Yeah, he, I think that, like, yeah, he doesn't go out kicking and screaming. I have this image in my head. He's sort of, like, he's on his knees, and he's sort of, like, he's, like, slumped over, and I think he's sort of, like, he, like, straightens himself out momentarily, and I think he gets a view of sort of like the nature that is before him, and he sort of I don't know, maybe he gives a little smile or something, maybe not a smile, but like maybe like he has like a look of like a contentment on his face, where you can not verbally, like, because I don't want to say everything through words, I want the art to speak for itself, but like there is that look on his face where he just where you can tell that he is content, that he is okay with it. And I think that I don't know, that's something that makes me emotional thinking about. You know, I like the idea of like sort of like the hero who like maybe doesn't like sacrifice them. I don't know. Yeah, he like sacrifices himself for something, for like a future that he will never see. And like maybe like the choice that he makes isn't like one that like has like massive ramifications. Maybe it is very small in scope, but like it matters to him most of all. Yeah, a look of peace. Yeah, that's sort of like I really like that idea. It's just the struggles with writing a story like that, for me at least, is it's easy to sort of like pick out these like key moments where you want like big things to happen, but it's like you have to sort of like fill that in. It's like, how do you get there? And I think that's like in my writing process, that's where I've been struggling the most. It's like, oh, like I know like where I want to hit these like specific beats, but it's like, how do I do that? And so and that's fun. I think that writing is like problem solving, same way that like art is like problem solving, in a lot of ways. So like I'm okay with that, and I've been having a lot of fun sort of like putting together like a narrative that's like a bit longer. It's tough though, you know, but like I don't know, I read so much where it's like inspiration like comes in droves, you know. It's like I get inspiration from like a lot of the things that I like consume. You gotta write, like, that's up to your skill. Like you gotta write things that's up to your skill, right? And of course, I think the best way to get good at writing is to read more. You know, I think if you want to like, if you eventually want to like write more, or write stories, you should probably read more stories, or watch more movies, or read more comics. You know what I mean? Because that's going to serve as like your basis for like how stories are constructed. And like one of the major things of in circles is sort of like the idea that like stories control our reality. It's like how do we go about our day-to-day lives, and how do like sort of the stories we've been told as we've been growing up, how does that like affect our perception of things? That's good. Hot dog. Okay, I did not capture the likeness very well at this scale. That's my fault. I really was not trying to be super accurate with this. I don't know. I was really trying to do it in my style. in my style mainly. My style, you know what I mean, my style. What I mean when I say that. This has been good. Of course. We'll draw the panel around it. The hair could have been better. Maybe if I would have used like an actual brush, I could have done the hair better. But Inoue has like a really good like method of like doing his hair. You can tell he uses like he has a very good hand with like his brush, so he's able to sort of like do the he's very experienced with doing it, and of course he has like decades of experience on top of me, so like I'm not gonna fret too much about it. It has volume. The hair, yeah, I think that's like the main thing. As long as you can get those like darks in there, like as long as it doesn't look like too like wispy, it looks good. Well, thank you. Thank you, I guess. I am my own worst critic, you know what I mean? I'm definitely my own worst critic. So, I know I said that I was gonna do a third panel from Chainsaw Man, but I'm looking at the stream. We've been going for 2 hours and 7 minutes. I'm getting sleepy. Maybe put that for the thumbnail? Wait, yeah, well, wait. I'll pull in closer so I can, boom. Wait, no, I gotta erase the pencil marks first. If I would have done this bigger, maybe next time if I do like a manga panel, I'll do it like a bit larger just so I can get like the hatching down to be like the correct size. If I had a finer pointed nib too, that would probably have been easier to get in like the details. Thanks. Habes ask, are you still going to stream this Tuesday? Yes, the Last of Us stream is still planned. We are still planning on doing the Last of Us stream where I complain for a couple of hours. So I hope you're all excited for that. I surely am. I've been getting mad again while thinking about the show. So definitely I've been feeling my hatred. No, not hatred, just disappointment. Just disappointment, really. So yeah, we are going to be streaming this next Tuesday. If you're not interested in The Last of Us video game series or TV series, then maybe don't watch that live stream. But if that is something you would be interested in, please tune in. It'll probably be around 4 or 5 o'clock is probably when I'm going to do it. And so it'll sort of be a camera on me flipping through the internet kind of stream. I think I want to make a PowerPoint presentation to sort of like guide the entire discussion. So we'll see how that. Can't wait. Thank you. I can't wait either because I love complaining. I'm a big complainer. All right. I feel like I always like end these streams and the volume of stuff that I've drawn is not great, but then I like sit down and I like remember that I've been talking the entire time and sort of like it's not just been drawing, it's sort of been like a lot of observation. So I guess I can't be too angry at myself. So we're gonna call it a night there. It's been a very good night, everybody. I've had a very good time. I'm gonna stop messing with this. You can tell I'm getting sleepy because I just like I don't know what to not that I don't know what to say, but I'm getting more incoherent as time progresses. It's my stream. I can do whatever I want. So I'm gonna stand up and do some stretches. Okay. Thank you for watching this stream. I had a really good time. I don't think it's called a stretch. No, that was like a dance number, actually. Um, anyways, thank you for watching this stream. I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch me draw and to listen to me ramble about uh, things that I'm into at the time. I had a lot of fun today, and I like showing you sort of like my process and sort of I like talking about like how I go about things because I think one of the best things that you can do um, in for anything in your life is to be self-reflective and to understand your thought processes and how that dictates the actions that you perform. And so we're sort of like this is an exercise in that. And so it's been a really good time. Thank you for listening to me ramble about the comic that I'm working on. It is liable to change. So if you like everything that I was talking about, just know that the creative process is one where you have to sort of axe ideas that you think are cool. So um, don't expect everything to like be like as neatly described as I said it has been. It's good to hear that you're doing last for stream. Truly masterpiece game. I gotta go by, man. Good luck with your Dropbox, by the way. Lizard Wizard, thank you. Thank you for tuning in for this stream. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you have a great rest of your night. Um, I can't think of anything else that I really want to say. It's fun. I feel like I feel like whenever I like do these streams, um, it gives me an opportunity to sort of speak my mind. Um, in my day-to-day life, in the real world, not on the cyber world, like we are right now. In real life, the harsh reality is that not everybody shares your specific niche interests. So it's hard to talk about the things that you want to talk about with others without just talking at them. And of course, I have friends that will listen to me, but you can tell that sometimes there's a bit of a disconnect there with when it comes to like experiences, when it comes to like things that they consume. You know, not everybody is on the same level. But when I do these streams, um, because I'm essentially talking to a camera, um, I am able to project my ideal conversation partner onto this camera right here, and so I am able to speak about the things that like I truly find interesting, that I find compelling, and I'm super thankful that you watching this, uh, that you are able to listen to me talk about those things. That's great. The internet is an awful thing that has happened to humanity, but this is probably one of the few positive things that's happened because of it. So yeah. Um, Next week, um, we might do a people drawing stream next week. If not, then we'll probably we might do I don't know, we might do more stuff like this right here. I don't know, I really like that. So we might next week either we'll do a people stream where we draw like faces and heads and stuff, or we'll probably do like it'll be like a semi composition stream, but it'll be like I want to do more things where I like place characters like in environments. So we might do that also. I'll put a poll up and we'll see what you guys think. Have a good rest of your night, everybody. I'm so sleepy. That's why I'm rambling. Um, have a fantastic night, everybody. I've had a really good time.